All right, everybody, welcome to this live stream. It is 8 p.m. right now on December 8th. It is a first alert weather day in Western Washington. I'm meteorologist Leah Pezzetti, and we are going to stay with you live for the next half hour and unpack everything going on this very busy first alert weather day in Western Washington. First and foremost, we are going to stay with you live until 8:30. If you have any questions you want me to answer live, I would love to take them. We have people watching on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and comment those questions live right now, and our digital team is watching those questions. They'll send them my way. We'll answer them live. We also have people watching on King 5 Plus on YouTube as well. If you are one of those people, let's see if we can get, let's see, Max 2 up here, everybody, behind the scenes here. I'll come back on camera. We'll see if we can get that going. I want you to text your questions in. So we have our text line. This line is always open at all times of the day. Our phone number is 206-448-4545. Please be sure to include any questions. If you want to give me your name, I'll address you by name, and let me know what your questions you might have, and we will be able to answer those live. One more time. Let's see here. I think that might not be Max 2 for us. Let me double check what system we're on here. Yep, we're on Max 2. Okay, there we go. Okay, there's the phone number, 206-448-4545. Also, if you have any photos or videos, it's already been an active weather day. I'm going to unpack it all. I want to see what you're seeing in your neck of the woods. So this is a phone line that you can use for questions, but also sending in any visuals that you may have. Please do that now. For the next half hour, we're going to stay live. So let's unpack what is going on, because we already are seeing record-breaking conditions, not only with daily rain. Olympia just broke a record for how much rain we've seen on today's date, 2.5 inches of rain, more than already. And we're also looking at the potential for the Snohomish River to hit a record stage for flooding. So a lot to unpack. We're going to get to all of it in the next half hour. Let's dive right in right now. All right, so one more time, there is that phone number. Text us questions, text us visuals, 206-448-4545. So here are the highlights. For the remainder of this evening, we have rain that is widespread across Western Washington. It'll continue for a few more hours before tapering off into our overnight hours. We also are going to continue to see this strong wind. We have a wind advisory in place for basically everybody through 10 p.m. tonight. We've already seen some strong wind. I'll show you that in just a moment. Tomorrow, we'll get a little bit of a break in the morning. It'll actually start dry in Western Washington as the rain heads south, but then it picks right back up into Western Washington during the evening. That actually is going to be our best window of opportunity for snow. We see snow levels dropping down to 4,000 feet. Tomorrow is also going to be when we see the start of our rivers hitting flood stage and cresting. So that's something we're keeping an eye on. Wednesday, the rain does not let up. We're going to continue to see more heavy rain, but it's actually going to shift the area that it's impacting. We'll walk you through that. River flooding will continue, and snow levels are going to be picking up. So that's a lot to unpack. Today's day 1 of 3 first alert weather days. Here's a live look from our Queen Anne camera overlooking downtown Seattle on this Monday evening. Raindrops on the camera, 55 degrees. Temperatures are not cold. It's relatively very warm out there, and that is part of the reason that we're not seeing any snow right now. This is falling as rain from the lowlands to the mountains. A couple live looks outside right now. We're starting to see that rain really picking up to the north. It was much slower earlier in the day, but that is changing as of right now. So everybody is feeling the rain. All right, let's talk about what we've seen already, and there is more on the way. Here is a look at our rainfall accumulation so far. Shelton is closing in on 3 inches of rain. To Olympia, 2 inches and 6,300 so far, so more than 2.5 inches. That officially breaks a record. The record for today's date was 2 inches and 0.13 of an inch of rain back in 2015. So we are about half an inch more than that, actually. And actually, Olympia for the entire month of December, typically on average, sees about 5.75 of an inch of rain. So here we are, we're on the journey there, about half of our monthly totals today alone, and we're not done yet. I expect to see, we could even see another ½ inch of rain in Olympia before the day is done. So I would not be surprised if Olympia surpasses 3 inches of rain for today's totals alone. And everybody, this is day 1. We have multiple days of rain on the way. So here is a look at satellite and radar. This is a loop of the last 12 hours, and I want to show you the 12 hours because you can see that that rain started up earlier today, and it has not let up. This is an all-day rain event. This is thanks to an atmospheric river that is impacting the Pacific Northwest. A closer look at what we're seeing now. This is now showing you the last hour. We did have a rain shadow set up, keeping Seattle to Everett a little bit more dry, but that has now filled in. We're seeing rain in those areas, but we are definitely seeing the heaviest rain down to the south. You can see Tacoma and then south of Tacoma, east of I-5, east of Chehalis, Castle Rock. That is where we're seeing the heaviest rain as of right now. Mostly moderate, some pockets of heavy rainfall is falling there. This is prompting a lot of watches, warnings, and advisories. Here's a look at all of them, and yeah, it's busy out there. This is because of rain. This is because of wind. Let's unpack that. We have a flood watch that's been issued for pretty much everybody in Washington and Oregon on the western sides of the states. This is because of that excessive rain that's leading to urban flooding, rising rivers as well. Like I'd mentioned off the top, we do have a river that we expect to hit record flood stage. This is also creating our soils to be incredibly saturated. So that is also creating the risk for debris flows, for downed trees as well. We've already seen that happening in Western Washington. We're seeing trees come down when it's not even windy out because the ground is just so saturated. We also have a emergency proclamation that's been issued in Pierce County because of that risk for debris flows and urban flooding. Especially for those areas that are seeing the heavier rain down to the south, you have that increased risk as well. We also have a good amount of flood warnings that have been issued. All of those neon green spots there, those are mostly around our rivers, and this is because of that flooding that is expected. Those flood stages will be reached into tonight. We're starting to see those creep up, but I want to zoom it out and show you that it's not just down south, it's up to the north as well. In Snohomish County, we're seeing these flood concerns. So we'll unpack that more in a moment. I want to also talk about the wind. A wind advisory is in place right now. This is going to continue until 10 p.m. tonight. At that point, we'll start to see wind calm down, but we're looking at gusts in the 40 to 50 mile per hour range. This is prompting that risk for power outages, for down trees as well. I'm keeping an eye on power outages. Our assignment desk here at King 5 is watching that for me. I'm not seeing anything major as of right now. It looks like we have 3,300 without power from Puget Sound Energy. So let's see, Snohomish PUD looks about 500 without power. So we do have some power outages, but nothing super major to report there. But that's definitely something we'll keep an eye on as we head into the next couple of hours here. I want to show you the strongest wind gusts so far. Oh my goodness, this just came in. Hoquiam saw a gust of 68 miles per hour. My goodness, that is incredible. I am sure that has broken a record. I'll have to verify that for you. But yeah, especially along the coast, Grays Harbor, you are seeing the biggest impacts of the wind. You see those purple colors down to the south. That is where we're seeing the strongest wind. Everett also saw a gust of 50 miles per hour, but my goodness, widespread. Into the rest of this evening, next couple of hours, we'll continue with that trend in 40 to 45 mile per hour gusts, mostly down to the south, and then eventually the wind will taper off. This is just after midnight tonight, so we have another 2 to maybe 4 hours of gusty conditions before that wind calms down. I want to quickly show you a wide view of the rain the next couple of days. So right now, it's widespread across Western Washington into Oregon. Tonight, this is midnight tonight, it's going to start to drop down to the south. So actually, it's going to then project itself toward Oregon early tomorrow morning. This is 7:30 tomorrow morning. We in Western Washington will catch a break, but then it picks right back up into tomorrow evening. This is 5:30 tomorrow evening. We're going to see that rain picking up into the afternoon and evening. And that also is just the beginning as well. We're going to see even more rain on Wednesday. And I've been talking about the rivers. That is a big thing I'm keeping an eye on. We do need to take a break quickly, so I'm going to do that and let you all go and take a look at some of your questions you've been writing in. But one more time, please, please, please drop your questions. If you have specific questions about maybe your area or what's going on here, the setup, we're going to unpack that and stay with us as well. If you live near any waterways, any rivers, streams, we are keeping an eye on many of our rivers hitting flood stage, and then also it's looking like at this point we do expect record-breaking floods. So I'm going to take a quick break, look at your questions, write them in, and then we'll be right back and we'll answer more and talk about those rivers flooding.
New data about safety and effectiveness can come to light. The FDA keeps track of that new data, which can come from patients, drug makers, or healthcare professionals, and may include information about negative reactions to prescriptions. Based on this information, the FDA may recommend that the drug maker update the drug labeling by adding warnings or updated dosage information. Changes could also include the FDA requesting a drug recall, Find the answers at fda.gov/drugs.
Okay, well, where are they? That's funny. Okay. 68-mile-per-hour gust in Hoquiam. My goodness. All right, welcome back, everybody. Meteorologist Leah Pezzetti here in a First Alert Weather Day. We're live from 8 to 8:30 answering all your questions, talking about the forecast. A lot of really good questions have come in. Let's see, I want to address some of them. Let's see, 16-year-old Evan has a question about if the wind and rain will get worse. The wind is going to stay strong for another 2 to 4 hours and then actually will start to improve. So that's great news there, but the rain, unfortunately, is expected to continue for the next couple of days. We're going to have a brief period of dry weather over into tomorrow morning, but then it picks right back up. I'm going to talk about that more in just a moment. We also had a question about high tides and how that plays a role in all of this. Yes, if you've been watching King 5 News, we've been covering these high tides the last few days. We had a king tide event that's astronomical, happens often. It's a regular occurrence, but when we see these king tides that pair up with storms, they can be exacerbated. And yes, that is a concern. We have another high tide event tomorrow morning that we're keeping an eye on. So if you do live in a coastal area, specifically around the Salish Sea, so up to the north, you could absolutely see 1 to 2 feet of flooding along the coast, the immediate coast there. So yes, that is something we're keeping an eye on. Jesse asked about how much the ground can absorb, how much water the ground can absorb before it becomes saturated and debris flows take over. That's going to vary place to place. It depends on how much vegetation is in place. Oftentimes when we have burn scars, so when we see a fire go through and it wipes out all of our vegetation, those areas are going to be more prone to debris flows because the ground becomes saturated and then there's nothing for it to grip onto. There's no vegetation that helps kind of stop the debris flows. And so in those cases, the vegetation plays a huge role, or the lack of, and that is what prompts those debris flows. So if you're in a burn scar area, if you're on any hillsides, you are one of those areas that has an increased risk for debris flows. It's so hard to predict. I wish I could say, like, rain. We can look at the futurecast and say, you know, okay, the rain is going to hit this specific area. But when we have this widespread rain that's impacting a large population and large geographic area, I wish I could say this is where the debris flow is going to happen, but unfortunately, we can't predict it to that degree. What I can tell you is that the heaviest rain is down south. It's south of Tacoma right now. Those would be the areas that are going to see the ground most saturated and would be most at risk for a debris flow. Okay, so those are some great questions. One more time, if you want to write in any questions, you can send them my way. Let me flash that phone number up one more time for you. This is the phone number that you can write in. 206-448-4545. If you have any questions, I would love to answer them live, but I do want to get back to our forecast and I want to track where the rain is heading these next couple of days. And I want to talk about these rivers because we are expecting rivers to not just to flood, but potentially record-breaking floods the next few days. Okay, so let's get to that futurecast. Here is what we're looking at this evening. You can see the heaviest rain is down to the south. If you're in the Seattle metro area between Seattle to Everett, you are not feeling the impacts in the way that everybody else is. I see a little bit of red there over the Cascades. Looks like right around Stevens Pass. We're probably seeing some heavy rainfall there as of right now. Into this evening, watch what happens. You can see that the rain starts to drop down to the south. We see clearing from the north first. This is 10 p.m. So in the next couple of hours, Whatcom, Skagit counties, western parts, and then also up to the north, Clallam County, you will start to see some of that clearing first. Later on tonight, that trend continues. This is 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. South of kind of Tacoma, you'll still hold on to some light rain chances into the morning, but everybody catch your breath. This is our little bit of a break from the rain tomorrow morning. So morning commute, other than any standing water from the rain that already fell, should be okay for tomorrow. But then we're going to watch the rain pick right back up. This is 5 p.m. That evening commute specifically down to the south. We'll see that heavier rain tomorrow evening. And this is also going to be when we lower our snow levels down to 4,000 feet. So we could get some snow. Look at Stevens Pass, has the potential for some snow tomorrow afternoon and evening. Then we get into late night, overnight tomorrow night. This is ringing in the new day on Wednesday. We once again see that rain picking up, and once again, it's favoring the south, those areas that will already be saturated down in east of Chehalis, around Mount Rainier. That's where we're seeing that heavy rain right now. That is going to continue overnight tomorrow night. And look at that, it continues into Wednesday. At this point, we're looking at some potentially heavy rainfall around the Olympia area once again. Yeah, everybody, I'm expecting us to hit our monthly rainfall totals in the span of just 72 hours, especially down in the Olympia area. Look at that red over Snoqualmie Pass. Yep, it's going to be wet Wednesday morning once again. Wednesday afternoon is when we're going to shift that rain to the north. We also had a viewer question asking about Snohomish County. Snohomish County, I'm watching you on Wednesday. Look at that. You see that the south will then catch a little bit of a break, but we shift the atmospheric river north of that. The Olympics are going to get drenched. Snohomish County and northward, you are going to see the heavy rainfall Wednesday afternoon, and that continues into Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. It's not letting up. I do want to point out, look at Seattle to Everett. Look at that. That's a rain shadow. That's what we've seen today. That's why our rainfall totals are lower in those areas. The Olympics basically suck up a lot of that moisture from hitting those metro areas. So if you're in those areas and you're thinking, wait a second, what rain? What are we talking about here? That is why you have a rain shadow. The Olympics are keeping you on the drier side, and we see that trend continuing into Wednesday evening. Let's get you to your Thursday. Here we are, Thursday, 10:30 a.m. I actually want to back it up here. I'm going to rewind here. Thursday, 7:30 a.m. We're still holding on to some of that rain, but now we'll take a step forward. Let's see how far out our run shows us. Okay, late morning by Thursday, still a little bit of lingering moisture, but okay, everybody, that is going to be what we consider the end of that atmospheric river event. So that is why we're in first alert weather mode for the next 3 days, is because we have a 3-day rain event. That is going to prompt flooding concerns for our rivers. This is an example. I want to show you this because I want you to look at, you see the forecast there, right in the middle of the screen, there's that line that goes up and down. If you look there and you can see there's that 1 and there's that 2 there, those are going to be when we expect those rivers to crest. Those are, it's a double crest. So this is what I want anyone who lives near a river to take note of. Not only are we going to see rivers start to crest tonight and into tomorrow, those rivers will go back down and then they're going to pick back up. This is showing kind of the 11th, the 12th. So that is going to be Thursday and into Friday because we have this multi-day rain event. So I want you to keep that in mind as we talk about river crest and river timing, is this is going to crest twice. So when I show you this data and you can see those numbers that show when the river's expected to crest, some of those do show the 11th in the 12th. That's a little bit misleading. This is a system that auto-populates. That's showing the crest as in the peak, and the second crest in many cases looks higher than the first, but we're expecting similar crests on the 8th and the 9th. So I don't have time to go through all of these rivers right now, but what I will say is that if you are one of the areas that is red and that is pink, you are expected to see the worst of the flooding. And If you're seeing it there and it's saying the 11th or 12th, expect it to also crest on the 8th or the 9th. Looks like the Skycomas near Gold Bar has already hit minor flood stage as of right now. And we are seeing the major flood stage expected for the Snohomish River at Snohomish. In fact, that one actually is going to break a record. I'm going to show you that in just a moment. But also we're keeping an eye on the Snoqualmie River near Carnation, Snoqualmie's Falls. Puyallup River near Ording is at action stage right now and is expected to hit major flood stage. That looks like it's going to happen tonight, 10 p.m. Our anchor Madison Wade is down there actually in that area right now. So if you're near there, go find her. She wants to talk to you, see how you're doing. But she's keeping an eye on that flood stage that's expected to hit. I do want to show you really quickly. So this is the Snohomish River in Snohomish. If you are in the town of Snohomish, I want you to pay attention right now. You can see that black line there on the top. You see those two crests. There's the one crest, and then it crests a second time even higher. That black line is indicating the record. That is the highest the Snohomish River has ever been. At this point, it's looking like we will break that record. So if you live in Snohomish and you have seen flooding in the town of Snohomish and you've thought to yourself, okay, yep, we can handle that. Nope, it is going to be even higher than that. At this point, it's looking like it's going to hit that crest the night of the 11th. So we do still have a couple days there. Looks like tonight we are going to hit that major flood stage, but not quite record breaking. Looks like the record breaking flooding will be happening on Thursday night. So this is something that did just update. So it absolutely could change. These are best guesses at that flood timing and level based off of the forecast and the data that we're getting. But as I just showed you, Wednesdays are our wet day in Snohomish County. That's the day that we expect that Snohomish River in Snohomish to hit that potentially record-breaking threshold. So we are going to stay on top of that. We are going to keep watching that and keep an eye on all of these areas that are expecting to hit flood stage. But I'm going to take one more break. We're going to come back for you. We have about 10 more minutes left. If you have any questions, I'm going to take those and look at that information right now and see if we can answer those. And if we have time, I do want to talk about an atmospheric river event as a whole and what it means, where the term comes from. I've been talking about this a lot the last couple days, but if you've missed that conversation, I think it's an important piece of information. So we'll see if we can have time for that. But we'll take a break. We'll be right back with more information.
New data about safety and effectiveness can come to light. The FDA keeps track of that new data, which can come from patients, drug makers, or healthcare professionals, and may include information about negative reactions to prescriptions. Based on this information, the FDA may recommend that the drug maker update the drug labeling by adding warnings or updated dosage information. Changes could also include the FDA requesting a drug recall. Find the answers at fda.gov/drugs.
All right, everybody, welcome back. A lot of really good questions coming in. I want to get to as many of them as I can. Let's see here. Okay. Someone said that they're seeing a power outage right now. Their power's flickering. What should they do in that situation? I mean, the best thing is just make sure you're prepared. Make sure all your devices are charged while you do have that power. What I like about this storm in this context is that it's not necessarily cold. So I don't expect a lot of people are trying to stay warm, really. Temperatures are actually well above average, and that's actually leading to the lack of snow over the mountains. So hopefully everyone doesn't need to stay warm necessarily. So oftentimes we worry about those emissions in your home. So hopefully that's not a concern. We also had a question from Lena. Lena said she's new to the area and asked how common are atmospheric rivers, and that tees me up perfectly. This is something I want to talk about. Is a lot of people have been asking, well, what are atmospheric rivers? Why are we using this term so much? If you've been around for a while, you may have heard the term Pineapple Express. It's the same thing. It's kind of the new and improved way to refer to them. We're trying to sound a little more official here. But then also there's been a lot of research that's been done recently into how to perfect the atmospheric river forecast, because they are common on the West Coast. We get atmospheric rivers. In fact, on average, 24 atmospheric rivers hit the West Coast every single year, but they vary in strength. Sometimes they're weak, and we consider those weak atmospheric rivers beneficial because we need rain on the West Coast, especially when they hit California. But when they're too strong, that's when they can bring too much rain too fast. We see that debris flow risk, we see that flood potential, and that's what we're seeing right now. So Scripps Institution of Oceanography, UC San Diego, has been working on a scale that helps give a metric to what an atmospheric river is and how strong it is. So you can see this visual here. If you take a look here, you can see it looks like a fire hose in the sky just blasting at the West Coast. That is what an atmospheric river is. It's moisture. It's a narrow plume of moisture that heads toward the West Coast, and it brings a lot of rain fast, basically. So Scripps Institution of Oceanography said, hang on, wait a second, let's fine tune this. Let's put a scale to it. In the same way that with tornadoes and with hurricanes, we have a scale 1 through 5. So when we say, EF1, category 1, you know that, okay, that's a tornado, that's a hurricane, but it's weaker. They want to do that with an atmospheric river. So we can say an AR1, that's a weaker atmospheric river. That's a beneficial atmospheric river. No reason to worry there. That's going to bring beneficial West Coast rain. But when we get into the 4, the 5 range, that is when it's a stronger atmospheric river, and that's when it can be potentially dangerous. We're talking about an AR4 here in Washington and Oregon here the next couple of days. Those were really good questions, and we unfortunately are out of time, but I am so thankful to everybody who's written in questions. That same phone number that I showed you, 206-448-4545, you can send in photos and videos. If you are seeing any weather impacts, whether it's trees down, urban flooding, rivers flooding, I want to see what you're seeing in your neck of the woods. Please be safe, of course, when taking these visuals. But you are our eyes and ears around Western Washington, and we want to see what you're seeing. We'll show it right here on King 5 so we can keep everybody in the loop. But we are going to be in a show starting at 9 p.m., and you can watch the latest from 9 to 11:30 right here on King 5 Plus, wherever you're watching. And we'll be with you the next couple of days. We're going to do these continuous extra live streams, these half-hour weather shows. We'll be doing them at 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. for the next couple of days. But thank you for sticking with me. Once again, I'm Meteorologist Leah Pezzetti, and we will see you next time.
New data about safety and effectiveness can come to light. The FDA keeps track of that new data, which can come from patients, drug makers, or healthcare professionals, and may include information about negative reactions to prescriptions. Based on this information, the FDA may recommend that the drug maker update the drug labeling by adding warnings or updated dosage information. Changes could also include the FDA requesting a drug recall. Find the answers at fda.gov/drugs. New data about safety and effectiveness can come to light.